Well, hey guys, it's Janine. It has been a very long time. I'm sorry that it feels like I kind of ghosted you guys, but believe me when I tell you that wasn't my intention. Um, it has been a long journey for me to come back to YouTube and try and make some videos. And right now I can't really guarantee you that I'll be able to do it with a great deal of regularity, but I'm going to try to start posting videos again. I miss it. I miss my crafty life. I have not been able to enjoy crafting in a long time, and so this video is going to be partly some card making and partly some life update. Soon I'm going to do maybe a more facing the camera, face-to-face sort of video where we talk about a little bit more about what's been going on, and maybe even do a house tour, or I might just do a video walkthrough and then a voiceover or something like that. But my husband and I have moved. We moved actually a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, but that move didn't quite turn out the way it should have, and that's a story all in of itself. But anyway, so I just found this little company out of Florida by the name of Pink and Main, and they have got a really great, well, they've got several subscription services, monthly subscription services, that in my humble opinion are priced really wonderfully as compared to other subscription services out there and other products out there. This card making one, and I will try to remember to put a link in the description box below to their subscription page on their retail website. I'm not affiliated with them. They probably don't even know my name, so I'm getting nothing for discussing their products. I just want to put that up there out front. But so this is the monthly. This was the one for April, I believe. And it's super cute. I don't know that I'm going to be picking up a regular subscription to it because some other things are going on that I need to put my expendable income towards. So it doesn't really give me room to purchase a lot of new products. So as I'm making these videos, you're likely going to be seeing a lot of older products that I've had for a period of time. But that's okay, because I think that's a great journey that we all need to be on, about using products that we already have and using them up. And I think that's kind of the commitment I've made to myself, is there are certain things that we need to repurchase because we use it more quickly, like say cardstock and that sort of thing. But as far as the more durable craft supplies, I think I need to be putting those to better use. And then the expendable craft supplies that I have, like pattern paper, that I've got loads of, that I need to use up. It's time to use them. But anyway, I just felt like this was such a phenomenal deal that I had to give it a try. And I just think these products are wonderful. They perform as well as any high-end products out there. And this craft kit, with shipping, with the whole thing, ran me a little over $43 with tax and shipping. And when you see the amount of products in here, you're going to be blown away. You're just not going to believe how much comes with their monthly subscription for that price. So let me go ahead and open it. And every month, if you get the subscription, you do get this reusable bag. I think Simon Says Stamp has a similar type of bag that comes in their monthly subscription kit. And I've already been playing with it a little bit, so please forgive me. There's bits and pieces in here of cardstock I've already cut. So the card I'm going to be making today, I'm actually going to be using two different thought processes, I guess you can say. So another channel that I enjoy watching, and who does something unique, is Crafty Owl. And she puts out every month a page like this called Sheetload of Cards. And she gives you an idea for card making that shows what a finished card could possibly look like, with the use of different pattern papers, cardstock, sentiment, and embellishments. And she gives you all the dimensions that she gives you the size paper you're going to need, and then the dimensions that you're going to need to cut your cardstock out, and your pattern paper out, as you can see here. And so I thought I really like that, and it's a great idea for making multiples of cards pretty efficiently. So we're going to be using her layout for April, and then we're going to be using the products from Pink and Main as the components for the cards. So I thought they were really cute, and they have some ideas as well that come with the kit, show you what some possibilities of cards you can make, and I thought that was really nice. And then they give you an overview of what's in the kit and the color palette that you're working with, and links for their different social media. So let me go ahead and show you everything that's in it. It's super awesome, and hopefully if I don't jabber too much, we'll have time to make a card. I've already cut quite a bit of pieces out. I started making cards the other day and just got sidetracked and didn't get around to finishing them. So this was the paper pad that came with the kit, and it's got this, but this is not glitter paper. It is smooth, but it has the look of glitter paper, and that's super fun. And then you have some more patterns in here that all go with the color palette and the theme. And I gotta tell you, this, as far as pattern paper is concerned, has got to be some of the highest quality pattern paper I've ever run across. I mean, you can tell by the snap that it's very, very thick. So it's really nice to work with. It's sturdy. You don't have to do a lot of layering of other stuff under it to give it more sturdiness. So I really like it. I'm still kind of toying with the idea of doing the monthly subscription because the products, but the value, I just really can't get over the value in what you get in this kit. But anyway, so you get a little pad of pattern paper, and I think it has 24, yeah, it has 24 sheets in it. And you get, okay, now this wasn't part of the kit. This was something I purchased separately because, again, their value is so good, but I did purchase a set of dies from them. But this set of dies comes with the kit, and they match perfectly the stamp set that come with the kit. And they had a number of sentiments and some really cute images. And for the card today, I'm going to be using this stamp because I'm making it for a graduate, and I like the idea of the dream big, and if you have no fear your dreams are too small. I thought that was super cute. So I thought I'd put one sentiment on the outside, probably this one, and then maybe this one on the inside of the card. Anyway, so it came with the dies and the stamps. Comes with a pack of sequins, and I love these sequins. They're flat, they're super shiny, no hole in the middle, and that's awesome. Came with a pack of enamel dots, and everything is coordinated so perfectly. It came with an embossing folder and a stencil. And we're not done. Of course, again, I apologize. I've already cut out so much and cut so much up. So it did come with some yellow cards. You can see I've already got, this is embossed. I've already embossed it, which I did purchase some clear and some white embossing powder from them when I ordered the kit, because I did not have those two things, just plain clear and plain white embossing powder. And I love these because they were pink. I mean, these are not exactly new. This type of tweezer is not new, but I love that it was pink. But anyway, so it did come with some yellow cardstock, blue, a lavender, a gray, and some white. So that was the color palette of cardstock that it came with. And again, I've already made cut them down to A2 size cards. And then I cut these pieces down to go with, let me show you that again, the sheet load of cards. My apologies, I wasn't as prepared as I intended to be. So we're going to be making basically this type of card with her layout of the pattern paper and color cardstock and embellishment, which I'm going to be using. I've already die cut several pieces and embossed them from the stamp set and from the stamp set and from the the dies. So anyway, so we're going to be making a card basically like this for a graduate. So let's go ahead and get started. Since I already have so many pieces cut out, it hopefully won't take too long, and will go fairly quickly. I'm not going to be using the stencil or the embossing folder, but I can't begin to tell you how much I love that a monthly subscription kit comes with these things. And you can see this is wonderful. I love this stencil, so you can use the edge of it or the edges of it. You know, for making clouds. You can use some ink and do some blending. You can do just stencil a couple of clouds, maybe using a super light gray around the edges to give it depth and dimension. You can use it to make a full background if you want to. I mean, there's just so many possibilities here. And I love that the die set also comes with a die or a couple of dies for cutting the edges of your cardstock. I thought that was really cute. And you can see in her example that she used it on the top of this card. So it gives you an idea of how it can be used. So anyway, let's get started. I'm going to keep these out because those are probably going to be part of it. And so you can see I've already cut out a number of the pieces from Crafty Owl's sheet load of cards. So I've got the background piece, the larger square piece, and then a number of the smaller pieces. So I'm just going to go through them and pick out the one that I want for this particular card. So I cut the yellow and the blue and the orange. I don't know if I showed you the orange when I showed you the rest of the cardstock. So there's an orange as well. For this particular card, though, I'm kind of thinking of going with the lavender, because I like the idea of the lavender and the blue, but I'm not sure which of the bits of pattern paper, because they're double-sided, which is nice. It gives me more choices. And I might change all this completely before it's all over with. Maybe something like that. Let me get a few more pieces out. So, life update time. So, yes, 3 years ago, my husband and I purchased a new home. The older home we lived in was a family home that my dad had deeded to me before he passed away. And that's kind of part of the life update, too. I lost my dad in January of 2020, right before COVID hit. And the home that he had deeded to us was an older house, quite a bit older, and it was in bad disrepair, and there was just some issues with it that we weren't going to be able to mortgage it in order to put the repairs into it needed. And so it left us with a really hard decision to just abandon the house. Basically, it was the decision we were facing, and buy another house and move, or let's just say there were not a lot of great options there. And so we made the hard decision to walk away from the house and purchase another home that was closer to where one of our children lived. It just seemed like the right idea at the time. So we bought the house that we're in now, but we actually just started living in it full time about a year ago, because when we purchased the home, when we purchased it in June of 2020, in the height of COVID, and we put some renovations into it. So we put some renovations into the house after we purchased it, because it did need some upgrades. The bathroom still had the pink and blue and turquoise tiles that were original to the house, and some other features that were original to the house. And anyway, so once the renovations were completed, we hired some movers. We brought all our things up here. We didn't even really have time to unbox. I think we unboxed the kitchen out of necessity sake and put a few of our clothes away in our closet to tide us over until we could get everything unpacked. And about 4 days after we got everything moved from one home to the other, Hurricane Laura hit. And the area that we live in, or the area that we purchased this house in, was in the direct path of the storm. And our new home was heavily damaged. And we were not able to live in it. As a matter of fact, we had a difficult time getting all of our things out of it. Not all of our things, just to get enough out of it, just clothes and other provisions, until we figured out what we were going to do next. It was quite devastating, as I'm sure you can imagine. We left one home that had too many issues to really deal with and fix. It would have been just too costly, and we didn't have the ability to borrow against the house to do it because of the circumstances. So we really had nowhere to go at that point. We stayed in an Airbnb for 3 weeks while we tried to figure out what we were going to do, if we were going to try and rent an apartment or a house or purchase an RV and live in it until the repairs on our home were completed. It was just not a great set of choices ahead of us. So ultimately, what we decided to do was to move in with my mother, who lived about an hour and a half away from the home that we had purchased. So as you can imagine, trying to deal with contractors, put repairs in on a home when you are not in the same geographic area as the home was quite challenging. We ended up having some extreme difficulty with contractors who overcharged us for the work that they did because of the circumstances at that time. A lot of people were in high need of contractors, roofers, you name it, general contractors, artisan contractors, carpenters, plumbers, electricians, and so forth. And so they were pretty much able to charge whatever they wanted to, but their price, it was basically price gouging. And just for instance, the gentleman whose company put the roof on our home, or re-roofed it for us, claimed that they did work that they didn't do. They claimed that they replaced all the decking. They did not. Just a lot of things like that. And then charged us $30,000, saying that he had completed all this work that he had not completed. He did put new shingles on our roof, but that was all he did. So there was that issue. And then we hired another contractor, and it was basically a year and a half of more heartache and headache and just problems. And at some point, he just stopped doing work and disappeared with a lot of our money. And we filed charges on him. We're waiting for all that to go through the court system. Justice, unfortunately, is not fast. It's slow. But we have faith. Through the middle of all the hurricane issues, my husband was also diagnosed with cancer. And the week that he was supposed to have his cancer surgery was not long after the hurricane hit. And so we had to postpone his surgery for a period of time. And that was a really devastating blow. When you're suffering with something like that, a matter of weeks is not necessarily going to make a large difference in the outcome. But it was still fairly nerve-wracking to be in that position, to know that he needed this surgery to save his life, to keep his cancer from progressing. But because we were displaced and in between addresses, basically, there wasn't much we could do. So we had to wait until we were in a situation where, and not just us, but his surgeon as well, his clinic was affected by the hurricane, so we had to wait for his clinic to open back up, and that took some time. So we're waiting on him to get back up and running. And when all that finally came together, about 2 months after the hurricane, Joe was finally able to have his surgery, and he's made a full recovery. He is cancer-free. It's taken a lot out of him, though. He went into that surgery. Well, let's put it this way. We went into the hurricane and the move and then his surgery, one set of people, and we came out of it different, changed. And so he is recovered, but it took a lot out of him. It just really did take all the circumstances took so much out of him. And he's just never fully come back to being himself entirely physically. He just gets so much tireder, faster. He just doesn't have the stamina he once had. He has to rest more often. He has to stop more often. And for a man like him, that's incredibly frustrating. He has always been a person who's always been on the go. Just always took care of things for himself. Never really had to hire anything out. And now we're in a place where we have to hire almost everything out to get done, which, you know, that is dependent on having the funds to do it. So it's just a matter of getting work done, saving, getting more work done, saving, you know, and that's just kind of been our process for a little while now. But it's getting there. We were able to, and this, again, it's a long story, and I might get into this more in a different video. This just really isn't the video for it. But we were finally able to sell the other property that we had, and then we used those funds to complete our house, or mostly completed. It's still not 100% complete, but it'll get there. I'm trying to decide what color ink I want to use. I'm not sure if I want to just go with a black, or if I want to do maybe some heat embossing with some white. But honestly, I don't feel like dragging all the heat embossing stuff out, so I think I might just go with either a black or a navy. I think I'm going to do a black. But anyway, so that we were able to make the house livable. There are still some things that need to be completed, and they might just take a while, but we were able to bring the house to, I would say, 90% completion with the sale of our other property. And the rest we are just doing, again, we save and we work, and then we save and we work, and we save and we work. And one of the reasons I haven't been able to come back to YouTube is the job that I work now is very demanding. I work about 50 hours a week. But it's a great job. It provides well for us. I'm an independent contractor, so I get to work from home. That's been an incredible blessing, especially with everything my husband's been through, and with having to try and put a house back together. You know, the fact that I always get to be home and be more available is a huge blessing. But that's also kind of part of this story, is one of the reasons I went absent from YouTube for so long was because made a decision to go back to school and finish my bachelor's degree. I started school, I'm going to date myself here, so you're fixing to find out just how old I am. I started college in the fall of 1988. That was directly after I graduated from high school. I graduated in 1988. And I, unfortunately, was definitely one of those kids that just had way too much fun in college and didn't finish. I walked away after only a year and a half and started a family. I'm trying to decide how long I want to make this sentiment strip. I don't know if I want to do it like that or further down, or just maybe like all on this portion, kind of this way. I mean, in her drawing, she shows it at the far edge here. So let's see how that looks. Kind of about right there is where her drawing shows, and cutting it off maybe about right here. But it does kind of make me wish I'd made my sentiment further down. That's okay. We'll flip it over and we'll do that. Plan this a little bit better. So in And this is such a God story. Again, one of those things I probably should get into in a later video. So if I want my sentiment to start right about there. Or maybe where, I'm trying to think, do I want it where it ends kind of in the middle? Or lands in the middle? I just feel like that leaves this end very blank. But I think what I might do is either fill it in with some enamel dots or some sequins. But anyway, so it's kind of a God story about how I ended up going back to college. And so I did. I ended up finishing my bachelor's degree in the fall of 2018. It took me 4 semesters. I took 60 hours in 4 semesters. It was intense, but I did finish in a year and a half. And through a lot of prayer and asking for the Lord. Our constant prayer was, Lord, open the doors you want us to walk through and firmly shut the ones you don't want us to walk through. And so we just, as the Lord led us, we followed. And I finished my bachelor's degree. I better get that out of there before I cut it. And went right into my master's degree. And that took me 3 years because I could only take a couple of classes a semester. Because by that time, with my new bachelor's degree, I got a new job, paid better. And but unfortunately, the hours were insane. I was working very long hours. I still do. Job is very demanding. But I'm pretty good at it, if I got to say so myself. But my employer left that job eventually because it was just a little too demanding. And that corporate hamster cage, just spinning and spinning and spinning and not really feeling like you're getting anywhere. And that's kind of how I felt in that job situation. So I left that job and went to a different job where I was an independent contractor. I make a little bit more money, and I'm working for people who are so much more appreciative and kind, and I'm so grateful for them. They have been a true godsend to me. I came to them after we had already gone through all of this stuff with the hurricanes and with my husband's cancer, and then I had a health scare in the middle of all that. And of course, at the beginning of this, I told you I lost my dad, so that was kind of the catalyst that started everything else on its journey. And I'm still not sure if I like this or not. I think I made it too long, but that's okay, because what I can do is bring it back this way a little bit and have my sentiment land right about there, or maybe there. And then I can cut it shorter here. Again, I'm looking at her drawing, so she cuts it a little bit shorter here. I'm not sure if I want to do that angle cut she did, or maybe do a banner style. We'll see, but I think I'm going to go ahead and trim this off right about here. But anyway, so I lost my dad January 2020, and then we bought this house, and then hurricanes and husband's cancer, and then roll into 2021, and I ended up in an emergency room around Easter of 21 twice inside of 24 hours. I was having an extreme, I'm so sorry I bumped the camera, having an extreme pain event in my abdominal area, and they gave me some medicines, did a CT scan, and sent me on my way. And then I'm going to turn this over because I'd like to make a pencil mark. But they sent me home on some pain medication, and 6 hours later I was back in the ER, back in pain, unbearable pain. And they found that I had a 22 centimeter cyst that extended from one ovary to the other. It was massive. It was about the size of a baby. And so I was in the last part of a semester at the time. So worked with a surgeon, and he felt like it would be okay, that I would be okay if we waited a month to do a surgery to remove the cyst and the ovary that was causing it. And so in May of 2021, I had surgery to remove that very large ovarian cyst. And I was laid up for a little while. And I just realized at that point I was still working the first job that I got after I graduated with my bachelor's degree. And just, it was in that time frame that I realized just how miserable I was at that job. I was so unhappy all the time. I was worked to death, working ungodly hours, going to work at 5:30 in the morning and not walking away from my desk until 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening, and then turning around and going straight into attending online classes because, again, COVID, so a lot of classes were still online, and I'm sorry, big breath. It was a lot. It was a whole lot in a short period of time, but I knew that I was in trouble. I knew that something had to give with this job because I got to a place, I had to wait again a month to have my surgery to remove this ovarian cyst and the ovary that it was attached to, because it was problematic and it was going to continue to be an issue. So my doctor felt like it was best to just go ahead and take it off. Take the ovary out, rather, with the cyst. So I got to a place with that cyst and that surgery where I actually was looking forward to it because I could get a rest from work. And I was on break for the summer for my master's studies. And that's cute. I like that. That works. So I was on break for the summer for my master's degree studies, and I honestly felt myself grateful for surgery so that I could rest. I was so tired. And that's when I was like, you know what, this job isn't worth this. It's just not worth it. I continued to work the job at that point. Let's see, I'm sorry, I'm trying to do the timeline. So I left that job at the end of 2021. As soon as I graduated with my bachelor's degree, with my master's degree, I started applying for other jobs and got the job that I'm at now. And it has been such a breath of fresh air. These people are kind. They don't drive me. The only stress I have at this point is how hard I push myself to produce a certain amount that I feel like, meets our needs financially. But these people don't push me. They don't drive me. They're extraordinarily easy to work for. They're very supportive. They're very caring. If I have any kind of issue whatsoever and go to them. At one point I did consider another job and I'd actually applied for another job and got it, was offered the position. And the biggest reason was, as an independent contractor, I don't have the same benefits as working for a corporation. And I was a little concerned that I was leaving my family financially vulnerable by not having, I know I'm being a little bit ridiculous with these phone, anyway, so I felt vulnerable, but again, they're just such good people. They were willing to work with me and help me locate some disability insurance and other insurances that I felt that left us with a gap in coverage. I already had health insurance. I didn't need that. Had life insurance. I was good there, but just didn't have the short-term and long-term disabilities to cover me in case something bad happens. And so they were willing to work with me and help me locate that and help me cover the expense by way of raise. So, that really made me feel valued, and it let me know that I was in the right place and I needed to stay where I was. And so that was great. So yeah, so I started this job in February of 2022. And there were some people at my old job that I really cared a lot about, and it was very hard making that decision to leave. But it was the right decision for me, and I know this because my husband and I prayed about it extensively before I made the decision. And I just kept going back to how incredibly unhappy I was. And knowing that I was looking forward to surgery to get a break from my job. Because that was one of the things with the job that was really giving me that I had a lot of reservation about is I had only 5 days of paid vacation a year. And so, but it's a work at home job. So as long as I was able to have an internet connection and my laptop, I could work. So the way it worked out for me is, through the hurricane and all of that, I worked from hotel rooms. I worked from Airbnbs while we were evacuated. I worked from my mom's dining room for a year and a half. None of this was fun, I might add. Not being able to, take a breath. I worked from my husband's hotel room. Not his hotel room, I'm sorry, his hospital room when he had his cancer surgery. I've had to work fresh out of surgery myself until my disability insurance kicked in. It was rough. It was rough not having any time off, and I just kept thinking, this is no way to live. This is no way to live life at all. And so I started looking for another job. And I prayed about it, and God led me to my current employer. And again, I couldn't be happier. It's been such a good situation for me and my family. I'm so blessed, and I don't ever miss an opportunity to count those blessings and thank God for what He's brought us through, for the fact that He never abandoned us. You can look at all that and you can think, well, what kind of God would put you through that kind of tragedy? And the thing you have to understand is that God doesn't put us through tragedy. Things happen. Hurricanes happen. It's nature. It's prone to get violent sometimes. It's prone to tsunamis and thunderstorms and tornadoes. And, that's just part of being alive on this earth, is that you have to deal with weather. We do things to our bodies. We abuse them. We don't eat well. Maybe we smoke. Maybe we drink. There's lots of reasons that our bodies fail us. And sometimes not. Sometimes people just have health issues. But the thing is that's not evidence of lack of a loving God. It's not evidence of a lack of a God altogether. It's not evidence that He's not a good, great, and mighty, powerful God. It's just evidence that it is the human nature. It's the sin nature that we were born into. Our hope is in our Creator. Our hope is that if we choose to be loyal followers, that He will be with us and He will walk us through all of our tragedy. And He did. He did. My husband and I never felt abandoned. We never felt alone. We did feel rather shell-shocked from time to time with just the events that were happening. But we knew that the blessing of always having... So here you have to understand, and if you don't live in Louisiana, if you've never been in this area, being without air conditioning in the heat of the summer is... It's not good. It's challenging. Very challenging. And so here we were in the heat of summer, having suffered a hurricane, having no home to go back to, basically, because a pine tree had fallen through our roof, and it was a mess. It was just a big, big mess. But anyway, what we never went without through the hurricane, we never went without air conditioning. We never went without electricity. We never went without a roof over our head or food in our bellies. We never went without a vehicle to get us from point A to point B. We never went without my job. We never missed a paycheck. You can focus on the tragedy, or you can focus on the deliverance. And that's where my husband and I choose to focus, is on the deliverance. I'm not sure I like that yellow too much. Let me try this marker. And I'm so sorry. These are some markers I got from Sam's. And I didn't want to spend a lot of money on alcohol markers because I wasn't really sure if I was going to like working with them too much. So before I invested in any, larger sets, I got this set just to see how I liked them. And they're pretty nice. I think I enjoy working with them. But anyway, so you can focus on the tragedy of it, or you can focus on the deliverance. I choose to focus on the deliverance. My husband had cancer. He is today cancer-free. Our home was unlivable for 1.5 years. It is now livable. You can focus on the problem, or you can focus on the blessing. And our choice today is to focus on the blessing. So I'm kind of thinking I'm going to do a little bit of a rainbow. Not sure if I want to kind of stay with the color palette. Maybe, I don't think I have a lavender. Let me look at something real quick. I think I just kind of changed course here. I need a white piece of paper to swatch these markers on, because I don't really know just how dark they are. This is a stamping template I made with the die cuts. That's a whole nother video. But I just want to test these markers out. Okay, that's fairly light. And I think that, oh, that looks good. Okay. But, we never went without, we never went without our needs being met. And my husband is cancer-free, and I am cancer-free, because that's another part of this story. A few weeks ago, I came to realize that I had what was most likely a hernia. I could feel a rather large lump in my abdominal area, and it was in approximately the same place where my ovarian cyst had come out. So I figured it was probably an incisional hernia, and that's exactly what it turned out to be. I had an MRI, oh no, I'm sorry, I had a CAT scan done, and they said definitely it was a incisional hernia, which I pretty much knew. But the scan detected something else, another mass on the one ovary I had left. And so, I'm sure you can imagine, that was rather disconcerting to hear. And the fears that went through my mind about what that could possibly be. So I've undergone further testing. You see my stamping was a little bit off here with my Versamark ink, but that's okay. I'm going to go with it anyway. And so further testing, and I still have a couple of tests to go, but right now everything is looking so positive that it's nothing. It's a benign tumor. And so that is the hope I'm holding on to. I'm putting my faith in that and trusting in that, because the Lord has been too gracious and too kind to us for me to not have faith and belief. And why am I using the biggest part of this marker when I could use a smaller bit? That would be easier. But yeah, God has delivered us through so much. I have no reason to doubt at this point that He is not going to continue to deliver us. But even if the answer were different there, even if the outcome was different, He's still good. And He's still God. And He loves me. And this I know. So it's good. So that's kind of where we are now. In a mostly completed house. And with a finished education. I'm just not sure what I want to do with the feathers. Of course, I kind of marked in a couple of them a little bit, but I'm trying to think of what colors would go over that and still look okay. I'm thinking maybe, oh, look at this blue. Not sure about that one. Let's see. No. I'm not sure about that one either. I'll go back to this one. This says saffron green, but it sure looks, well, I guess it is kind of a, I don't know about that. I wonder if maybe a darker purple. That might be a thing to do, and then it would cover up. Yeah. Yeah, I think I like that. But I'm good. And again, I don't know if I can go back to YouTube with regularity, because again, my job is pretty demanding, and I work pretty long hours. That looks kind of sloppy. I think I should have left that one alone. Oh well, I'm trying to make the best of it. And what little bit of free time I have, I try to give to my children, my grandchildren, my husband. So it just doesn't leave a lot of time for creating YouTube content, but I miss it. Because the thing is with all the moving around, one of the reasons I couldn't make videos for the last couple of years is because all of my craft supplies were boxed up, and in this house that was so heavily damaged. I just don't know how I feel about that. I don't know that I like it. I couldn't even get to them. They would be constantly moved from room to room and stacked under this and stacked under that. There were times that I would come, my husband and I would come for the weekend to survey the work and see how things were going. And I would find my craft supplies, like a little cart that I had that had a number of my supplies in it, was just knocked over in the garage, and all the contents emptied out of it onto the garage floor. And I couldn't even figure out why was it there? Why did they take it out of the room that it was in, and why did they just knock it over and, leave the contents? There was just so many things. We were having so many issues with our contractor. It was the stuff that nightmares are made out of. It was just always anxiety inducing. I would have an anxiety attack almost every time we came to this house. Because it was just so much. There was just so much going on, and it was... I'm trying to think of the right descriptive word here. Anxiety inducing, that's probably the best way to put it. It was disheartening, and it was frustrating, and all we would ever want was just people to be straight with us. We felt like we're paying you. We never miss. You send us an invoice, we pay it. We're good customers. We're doing what we're supposed to do. So when are you going to start doing what you're supposed to do? And that was probably harder. And I know this is going to sound crazy, but dealing with that, with the reconstruction after the hurricane, was probably worse than dealing with my husband's cancer. Because at least with his cancer, the doctors did what they said they were going to do. They were always straight up and honest with us about what they felt his prognosis was, which was always good. They always told us that, he caught it early, and because he very much stayed on top of his PSA tests, and so they caught the cancer early. There was always good news, and it was always... I'm trying to kind of hide the fact that these two feathers here really got cut off bad with my my stamping being a little off. Yeah, no, that's not going to work. Maybe like that. But I forgot what I was saying. Oh, yes. The dealing with the contractors was actually more traumatic. That's the word I'm looking for. The reconstruction process was more traumatic than my husband's cancer process, and with me having to go through emergent surgery, and and it had everything to do with the fact that they wouldn't answer as far as the contractors went, they wouldn't answer our calls. They would tell us they were doing one thing, and then they wouldn't do it, or it was a constant battle that never ended. I'm sorry, I was trying to figure out the best way to get this stuck on here. I think this is going to be it. And it went on for, such a long period of time with my husband's cancer, and with my surgery. It was it was, when it was done, it was done. There wasn't any, he still has to go for follow-ups, but there was no chemo. There was no other big surgeries that had to happen, or other procedures that had to happen. It was done, and it was over with, and he survived, and we survived, and everything is good, but this thing with our house, and it's still ongoing. Here we are almost 3 years after the hurricane, and our house still isn't finished. I mean, it's mostly finished, but it still isn't finished. We still have some electrical and plumbing issues that need to be addressed, that didn't get addressed the first couple of times because we did put everything we could into the house, and then we ran out of funds. And so we're, again, at that place where we save a little, we do a little, we save a little, we do a little, and that's just how it goes. But so yeah, this house and the reconstruction has been way more traumatic than any of the health issues we've been through. And that's just crazy when you think about it. It's just an odd thing to even say. But I definitely wouldn't wish any of those issues on anyone. It's incredibly traumatic. So, that's my life story. That's kind of what's been going on for the last 5 years. There's more to it if you have seen the video right before this one, which was several years ago. It was about my brother that we lost in 2017. Lost him right before I went back to school. He passed away. Mother's Day, actually. It'll be 7 years this Mother's Day, on Mother's Day. And that was pretty tough. And I still miss him. But that's kind of what started the whole spiral of things just going crazy for so long. And we're finally in a place of being better and recovered. You know, we lost him and then lost my dad and then COVID and then everything else. But we're still here to talk about it. And for the most part, we have our health. And we're good. And that is the grace and the mercy of God. So, let me know what you guys have been up to. I feel like I've just kind of gone off on tragedy hour here. I don't mean to be so tragic, but it is just where things have been lately. And all these little things are falling out of here. If it was the color I wanted to fall out, I'd be pretty happy about it. I didn't want to have to get in here and try and fish out the size and the colors I wanted, but I was thinking that color would be good right there. What do you guys think? So yeah, tell me what you guys have been up to. Tell me what's been going on in your lives. I want to hear about you. I'm not doing the best job making this card, but you guys, please forgive me because I am super rusty. It has been a really long time. I think that looks kind of cute. I think we need some more stuff around here. I don't know if I want to... I think if we do the sequins, we need to stick with sequins. I think throwing some enamel dots in there would just be kind of visually confusing at this point. And I'm really liking the sequins with this because they bring in that thought process of sparkliness, you know, sparkly night sky. So I think it needs a few more of those in here. So let's go ahead and get those on real quick, and then we'll stamp a sentiment on the inside, and this little card will be done. I gotta tell you, it was a little time consuming doing all the little cutouts that I did because I did make this template, and then I did run these dies through a few times. So I cut out a number of pieces. I learned, this was one of those techniques I learned from Jennifer McGuire. So I still have all of these that I can make more cards with. And I am going to make up a number of them. I think I cut out enough stuff to make about 20 using this sheet load of cards template. So I'm probably going to do that at some point. And if I do, I will take pictures of them and post them for you guys. But that's it. I'm not going to put you through watching me glue all these little sequins down. That's pretty much where I'm going to put them. And I think the sentiment that I'm going to use inside, I was looking at it a little bit closer, and I think I'm going to use this one. May all of your dreams come true. Because again, this is for a graduate. So I think this is cute. If you have no fear, your dreams are too small. And then may all of your dreams come true on the inside. So I'm going to do that. But anywho, thanks so much for listening to me go on and on and on about my tragedies and my woes, but I just wanted you to understand that, I didn't just walk away from YouTube because it wasn't in my heart to continue crafting and making content for you. It's just life circumstances were just such that it just, again, I didn't even have access to my craft supplies for almost 2 years. And then after that, it's just been working demanding jobs and doing my best to just keep up with life in general with my little family. So hopefully I'll get to put out some more content. Anyway, you guys take care. It was so fun catching up. I hope you all are doing well. And again, please leave me some comments. Let me know how you're doing, what's going on in your lives. I would appreciate it. And y'all take care now. Bye.